Good morning, everybody. It is Saturday, February the 28th, and if you have been paying attention to anything that has been going on in the news lately, it should be no surprise whatsoever to wake up this morning to find out that we have launched a vicious attack on the state of Iran, as well as the nation of Israel has participated in the attack as well. The buildup, if you've been following over the last few weeks, has been absolutely enormous with the amount of ships, the amount of aircraft, and the amount of support equipment that has been sent to that part of the world. And honestly, it should be no surprise whatsoever that we have begun to attack Iran. Um, and so that's what we woke up to today. It has been a lot of mixed news has come out, but I just wanted to jump on here and I'm going to play the President of the United States and his speech that he gave throughout the middle of the night and the statement that was made. So we're going to jump on here, listen to him, and make some comments about the
A
things
short
that he
time
has said.
ago, the
Alrighty.
United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world. For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries.
Now, I do like the fact that he is going back and reminding the world that this has been going on for many years and that Iran has a history of attacking U.S. allies and the United States assets that has gone on since the very beginning of the fall of the Shah. Um, I have mixed feelings about what we're doing. I do think that Iran is an issue, and I part of those mixed feelings though are that I'm kind of getting a lot of joy. I just gonna be honest. You can hold it against me. I don't care. I saw multiple people during my time in Iraq many years ago um, die because of Iranian-made munitions, IEDs, which you'll see here that he mentions, as well as rockets. I myself have been a recipient of multiple Iranian-made rockets over the years, and so to see the Iranian regime get some back, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of enjoying it a little bit. So let's keep following along.
Among the regime's very first acts was to back a violent takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, holding dozens of American hostages for 444 days.
By the way, it is a John Wayne cup of coffee morning. I mean, that is when I got up this morning, saw the news was going on. I said, I got to get my John Wayne cup out. And said, a man's got to have a code, a creed to live by. And I think that's very true. Too many people are just wishy washy, bouncing all over the place. And so today was definitely a grab a John Wayne cup of coffee day. Just had to put that in there.
In 1983, Iran's proxies carried out the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut that killed 241 American military personnel. In 2000, they knew and were probably involved with the attack on the USS Cole. Many died.
About that one.
Iranian forces killed and maimed hundreds of American service members in Iraq. The regime's proxies have continued to launch countless attacks against American forces stationed in the Middle East in recent years, as well as U.S. naval and commercial vessels in international shipping lanes. It's been mass terror, and we're not going to put up with it any longer. From Lebanon to Yemen and Syria to Iraq, the regime has armed, trained, and funded terrorist militias that have soaked the earth with blood and guts. And it was Iran's proxy, Hamas, that launched the monstrous October 7th attacks on Israel, slaughtering more than 1,000 innocent people, including 46.
I think that's something that's really important to remember. We get used to hearing just terms, hearing phrases, the number one state sponsor of terror. And it can just kind of go in one ear and out the other because we've heard it so many times. But the reality is that the Iranian regime that is in power right now has been spreading uh, violence, funding, arming, creating all kinds of problems, specifically in the Middle East, but in other parts of the world as well, and have been for a very long time. They are not some just despotic regime that is within the boundaries of their own nation, and we're looking at from the outside feeling sorry for the people that are there. No, they are taking their ideology and spreading it outside of their walls. And you can say the same thing about the United States. We're doing the same thing, right? We are projecting our force. The reality is, though, the difference is I think that we have a different worldview. And while America is not perfect, we aren't out trying to destroy nations like uh, Iran is just because they believe a different version of Muhammad, or because they are Jews, or because they're Westerners, right? And so, and the reality is, we also have the ability, we have the power to project and to do this. They don't. They've just been creating chaos for many years.
Americans while taking 12 of our citizens hostage. It was brutal, something like the world has never seen before. Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of
There's the
terror
term.
and just recently killed tens of thousands of its own citizens on the street as they protested. It has always been the policy of the United States, in particular, my administration, that this terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon. I'll say it again. They can never have a nuclear weapon. That is why in Operation Midnight Hammer last June, we obliterated the regime's nuclear program at Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. After that attack, we warned them never to resume their malicious pursuit of nuclear weapons, and we sought repeatedly to make a deal. We tried. They wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. Again, they wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't know what was happening. They just wanted to practice evil. But Iran refused, just as it has for decades and decades. They've rejected every opportunity to renounce their nuclear ambitions, and we can't take it anymore. Instead, they attempted to rebuild their nuclear program and to continue developing long-range missiles that can now threaten our very good friends and allies in Europe, our troops stationed overseas.
So I do have some questions here a little bit, especially because we're a little bit jaded from some of the statements from previous administrations for reasons why we went into certain other nations in that part of the world. Um, you know, in one hand, you just said we obliterated their nuclear capability, and now we're saying that they're, you know, back to building. What's the proof or whatever? One, that we did obliterate it, and then two, how do we know that they are actually right back at where they were now? In today's heated climate, there's been a very good psyop going on about it's all the Jews' fault, it's all Israel's fault, blah 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 blah. I'm not going to get into that too much, other than the fact that it's a bunch of nonsense. You can just look at some history, open up a history book, go back more than 20 years, okay? But he just made a statement here that that if Iran continues to do what they have at least said they're going to do, uh, they have the capability to strike not just Israel, but other nations in Europe and places around the world. And when you have a regime that has a desire to bring about the end of the world, that's basically their religion, right? We're going to bring back the imam and all these things. And so we're trying to bring about the end of the world. Um, yeah, these guys are crazy. I think we should take them at their word.
And could soon reach the American homeland.
I'm not so sure they have that.
Just imagine how emboldened this regime would be if they ever had and actually were armed with nuclear weapons as a means to deliver their message. For these
I do
reasons, the
think that's
United
very
States
dangerous.
military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests.
I do think it's good that Trump is calling them out for what they are. They're wicked and they're evil. No bouncing around. Um, you know, just call it out for what it is. It's wicked. It's evil.
We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated. We're going to
Yeah, I'm not
annihilate
sure how
their
they
Navy. We're going to
rebuilt it
ensure
that
that
fast.
the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region or the world and attack our forces and no longer use their IEDs or roadside bombs, as they are sometimes called, to so gravely wound and kill thousands and thousands of people, including many Americans. And we will ensure.
I don't think people realize, just how much funding comes from Iran. Again, going back to the idea that they're the number one state sponsor of terror. Once many of these groups, once their funds, their weapons, and things dry up, I think we will see a little bit of I would hope, a substantial decrease in violence in that part of the world. Uh, Unfortunately, I think a lot of these groups have significant amount of stockpiles, um, so it might take quite some time.
That Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon. It's a very simple message. They will never have a nuclear weapon. This regime will soon learn that no one should challenge the strength and might of the United States Armed Forces. I built
We
and
got about 3 minutes
rebuilt our
left.
military in my first administration, and there is no military on earth even close to its power, strength, or sophistication. My administration has taken every possible step to minimize the risk to U.S. personnel in the region. Even so, and I do not make this statement lightly, the Iranian regime seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future. And it is.
I think it's a really great line that he's got there. One, it seems like Trump is actually staying on topic for the most part, or staying on script. A lot of times he begins to wander all over the place, but it sounds like he's staying on script, if not completely, very, very close to it. But it's very important to give the purpose, and he's basically said, "We're not going to allow you to have nukes, and we want your leadership to change." That is the purpose. And he's also being very realistic about the fact that unfortunately there may be U.S. casualties in this. I hope there's not. There's a very good possibility that there won't be, just the way that it looks like we're going to be dealing with this. But things can happen. And so I think it's very important to be just upfront with that and say, look, things can happen. People may die, may hurt or be hurt. But then he also makes a statement that that's not something that he takes very lightly, but he's looking toward the future. And I think too many politicians today, and I'll say this with the caveat or understanding that I am not a big Donald Trump fan. I'm not one of these guys that's Donald Trump does all good all the time. I'm also not one of these guys that says Donald Trump does all bad all the time. It's a mixed bag with him. Um, but he makes a statement that we're doing this for the future. And too many people focus on today. As a culture, we focus on today and we shortchange the future. In fact, we will hurt the future to give myself a little bit of gratification for today. And I think this is a hard decision. As he said, no one else has been able to do it or been willing to do it. And we finally have, we have the technology and the capability to do what we're doing now that we didn't have 15, 20 years ago. The leap forward in technology in the F-22s, F-35s, and just the ability with the Space Force and their capability to crush um, infrastructure electronically is cannot be overstated. I think it would surprise people, and so we now have the ability to do it. He's looking toward the future, and I think that's something that is we need to recognize a little bit more and give him at least some credit for that. I think there's a statement that might get glossed over, but I think it's very important.
Is a noble mission. We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear armed Iran. We ask God to protect all of our heroes in harm's way, and we trust that with His help, the men and women of the armed forces will prevail. We have the greatest in the world, and they will prevail. To the members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the armed forces, and all of the police, I say tonight that you must lay down your weapons and have complete immunity, or, in the alternative, face certain death. So, lay down your arms. You will be treated fairly with total immunity, or you will face certain death. Finally, to the great, proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations.
They've been asking for help for a while, and there's people complaining, why didn't we help already? Well, it took a lot of time to get, but I mean already. I mean the last couple of weeks. We've heard stories about thousands of people being killed in Iran by the Iranian regime. It takes a lot of time to move the assets around the world to be able to do what the United States is doing right now. There's no other country in the world, and that's not bluster. There's no other nation in the world that can do what the United States has done to move the amount of assets, the technology, and everything around the world. But it still takes time, right? And so we have put together this massive amount of firepower, and I think it's really important that Donald Trump is making it very clear. He's saying, "Look, lay down your arms," but then he's also putting the onus on the Iranian people, saying, "Look, we are giving you the opportunity, but you have to do it yourself." And I think that's the difference between Donald Trump and guys like George W. Bush. You know, in the early 2000s, we had this soft conservatism idea, that we were going to go in and bring democracy to the Middle East. Well, that's just foolish. All you got to do is read a history book and realize how stupid that was. Okay. Donald Trump is saying we're going to obliterate and wipe out um, the leaders of the Iranian regime, but it's on you, the people, to go in and take your country yourself. And he's being very clear. This is your chance. This is your only chance. So we're going to overwhelmingly destroy the Iranian government as best as we can, but then you have to step up and take it over yourself. We can't do it for you. And I think that's the difference. And I think that's we should have done that 26 years ago, 25 years ago, whatever it was. Um, and so I think that will decrease the potential loss of American lives, but it also puts it on the Iranians. You can't say we didn't help you, and if you fail at this is your own fault.
For many years, you have asked for America's help, but you never got it. No president was willing to do what I am willing to do tonight. Now you have a president who is giving you what you want. So let's see how you respond. America is backing you with overwhelming strength and devastating force. Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is close within your reach. This is the moment for action. Do not let it pass. May God bless the brave men and women of America's armed forces. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless you all. Thank you.
Let's see here. I think we are. Alrighty. Um, like I said, I got mixed feelings about this whole thing. I'm not a big fan of playing police for the world. We've seen how that's worked for many years, but I do think there's a difference that we're not putting troops on the ground. At least it doesn't appear like at the time. So, looking at the president's speech, I think it was pretty well done. He laid out, why he felt like we needed to do this. He laid out the background or the historical background of what was going on. Basically, then laid it into the hands of the Iranian people and said, "Look, this is we're doing our part. Now you have to step up and you have to take this to the finish line." It'll be interesting to see. I know there's people behind the scenes that are working to try to set up a government. We'll see. Does the Shah's son come back? Some people say he's loved. Some people say he's hated. Who knows? There's going to definitely be some political wrangling going on there. But I wish the people of Iran the best. I certainly wish the troops of the United States the best. We have seen some response from Iran. They have launched rockets, I believe, onto 5 countries. I don't believe they've necessarily hit much. They did hit what looks like possibly some fuel depots at the home of the Fifth Fleet in the Middle East, but the Fifth Fleet has been basically evacuated, and so I don't think there's any real substantial damage. I believe they also hit Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and the difference now is that Saudi Arabia appears to be no longer protecting Iran. They have done a 180 in their stance on the Iranian regime in the last few hours, especially since their nation came under attack, and have basically said they are all in for whatever happens for taking them out. And so all of there's no nation standing with Iran at this point in time in the Middle East. It's just going to be a matter of time before the Iranian ability to wage any type of war is destroyed. It sounds like we are attacking like the Ayatollah's home and a lot of things or government buildings, not just military sites, but going after literally the government infrastructure. This is going to last for several days at a minimum, from what it sounds like. Um, and so I certainly wish the people of Iran the best. The there's a lot of fear mongering going on out there. I've noticed. Of course, it's the internet, so we got fear mongering all over the place. World War III is getting ready to start, and all that kind of stuff. The odds of this developing into a wider war are very slim. Russia is not going to do anything. They are significantly, frankly, they're just a paper tiger. Other than the fact that they have nukes, we have seen that they do not have the ability to really wage war. That has been proven by the fact that's what's going on there in eastern Ukraine. They can't even take over Ukraine. So, not worried one iota about Russia getting involved. They are not going to launch nukes over Iran. That is just stupid thinking. Is China? No. China's not going to go to war with the United States over Iran as well. There may be some little local skirmishes around, maybe with some of like Hezbollah and Hamas and all these groups that Iran has funded and taken care of all these years. But the odds of this developing into a major war, such as World War III, are slim to none. So ignore the people that are making those kind of statements. I just don't see that happening. As more and more information comes out, we may jump back on here and give some more feedback, some more information about what is going on. But um, it's this could be literally world changing. I mean, the Iranian regime came in right before I was born, and they have been a thorn in our side, in the world's side, my entire life. And we will see if this is going to be the time when the people of Iran step up and take back their country. Um, but it's on them. I just hope and pray that the United States does not send in ground troops. I would not be surprised if we send in some special forces troops to take care of specific targets, going after maybe some of the nuclear, um, some of their nuclear information and things like that, just to make sure it doesn't fall in the wrong hands. So I would not be surprised if we find out eventually that there's some small tactical um, special forces groups that have gone in and done missions. But I don't think we're going to see wholesale American boots on the ground, and I hope that that is the case. Pray for our troops, keep them in prayer, that they are safe. They are in harm's way, that is for sure. And for our nation needs to turn back to the Lord, and we'll go from there. So take care, and we'll continue to follow this. Anything else comes crazy comes out, we will jump on and maybe do